Hello everyone! Today I have the pleasure to welcome Mr. Thomas Sattelberger as our guest. Mr. Sattelberger has a long and distinguished record in promoting innovation in the German government and private sector. He was until recently the State Secretary for Education and Research, which is co-responsible for innovation policy in Germany. Germany, of course, has been among the Global Innovation Index's top performers for years. Before his political career, Mr. Sattelberger held key positions in the private sector, including at Mercedes, Lufthansa, and Deutsche Telekom. Hello, Thomas.
Hello, Sasha. Thank you for inviting me. I look forward for the interview.
Yeah, us too. So in this short discussion, we really want to understand and discuss a little bit the situation of Germany's innovation performance and its changing role in the global innovation landscape. So my first question would be, you held all sorts of very distinguished positions in the private sector, including HR director, member of the board at Lufthansa, in other major companies such as Airbus. And all of these positions were when these companies were in turbulent times. Can you tell us a little bit how this experience prepared you for today's role in innovation policy? And also, why did you change, and moved over to the public sector as a politician?
Well, Sasha, let me answer your second question first. I was 67 years old when I decided to move in the public sector. So I really had finished already my business career. But if I look back, working in huge corporations, you are learning to ride the elephant. And at least it is preparing you to ride the bureaucracy and means preparing for the public service. I sometimes even said, ironically, I work at Telecom to prepare myself for public services. So I really was learning that. And since I always was engaged in the people side of change, I could deeply dive into the research culture, in the leadership processes, in the science world. And I had a clear eye on how things worked before it became new products and services and business models.
Three things foreigners have always inspected, when trying to understand the German innovation systems are the strengths of the SMEs, KMU, the German Mittelstand, which is kind of related, but also the strengths of vocational training, Berufsausbildung. What are your views on these three assets? Are they still key assets of the German innovation landscape, or is this something that was strong but needs strong work today?
They are still a strong asset. Germany is hosting, if I remember it correct, 1,500 to 1,700 of 3,000 hidden champions in the world. But there is an issue connected with that. Those hidden champions are aging. And the life cycle of birth, growing into Mittelstand, growing and scaling up and specializing into hidden champion is somehow disturbed because our startup ecosystem is not really functioning as well as it should be. So the aging of the hidden champion is an issue. And the vocational system, yes, it is an asset, but it is an asset for the industrial age. We have not really come into the digital age in the vocational education. And to give you just a number, 2.2 million young people between 20 and 30 work in the labor market without any vocational education. And that is in the digital age disastrous, so to say, because those will be the first ones who will be substituted by artificial intelligence or really be low wager.
Very interesting. On the German startup ecosystem, I mean, in the past, as you rightly said, Germany was really known for its capacity to scale up, right? That is the major difference to other, including emerging economies that we study. Now, what's the problem in the current environment? What is missing? Is it a finance issue? Is it a skills issue?
Probably it's a combination of several factors. On the one hand, we are, as a study of McKinsey shows, roughly we are missing till 2026, roughly 780,000 tech specialists. So the immigration into Germany, the migration into Germany is not really working outside the European Union. Number two, German universities take a hard time to learn that transfer, spin-offs, commercializing belongs to their issue, belongs to their tasks. Thirdly, I think the scale-up funding is in the moment okay, but the pre-seed funding is still underdeveloped. The funding of ideas and prototypes long before you found a small enterprise. And last not least, exits are mainly done not in Germany. Our startups, if they exit internationally, they even leave the European Union. They are very often to find in the US, in the Boston area, in the Silicon Valley, but also increasingly now in China.
That is a problem that hasn't changed, yeah. Now, imagine I give you a magic wand and you can change one particular thing in the German innovation landscape. What would that be?
Smart infrastructure on the last mile and on the last centimeter, and smart revolution in public services.
Could you explain a little bit more?
We have an awful long time in the coverage with high-speed internet. And naturally, you need high-speed internet, 5G, you need it in the agricultural rural areas to utilize the strength of smart services in agriculture. But also from a civil point of view, naturally the inhabitants in rural areas have the same rights as the people in the metropolitan areas. But coming from business, naturally you need the coverage to the last inch, and it takes now probably, if I think back, 12 years till we roll out 4G finally. And in all the rankings which I see, the digital services in the public area in Germany are completely underdeveloped. And this is hindering business. This is hindering the civil community. This is hindering the health system. This is hindering the schooling system. In Corona times, Denmark, it took them 3 days to go on distance learning, and it didn't happen in many schools at all in Germany.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's clear. I want to shift to another topic which is quite dear to you, and that is the one of knowledge and technology transfer from universities and public research institutions into the marketplace, right, to actually bring about real commercial innovations. What's the state of play here in Germany? I hear a lot of good things about the technical universities currently.
Well, actually, on Thursday, I'm doing a speech at the Technical University in Darmstadt exactly on that issue. And probably the prominent technological universities, but also large universities, which technological additional focus, they have now naturally their incubators, they have their co-working spaces. This has been probably nicely achieved, but two things from my perspective are missing. Number one, worry-free IP transfer. We have a jungle of solutions, and very often the academic institutions believe they could become rich or solve their financial problems by torturing a little startup. And here we need easy and pragmatic, worry-free IP transfer solutions. For example, I'm really a fan for virtual shares for intellectual property. That is for liquidity plagued young startups. That would be a key solution in the deep tech sector, and naturally all the issues of license transferring and buying patents. But at the end, as a liberal-based person, I would say we need a freedom law for transfer. And this country needs a new generation of startups in the deep tech sector. Because if you look around, energy crisis, Corona is still plaguing us, the climate change, now the Ukraine war and the aggression in the Ukraine, but which means the start of a possible Cold War 2.0, and the demand for technological sovereignty in this country. So we need a range and a new generation of deep tech Mittelstand. And that would mean you open the doors, perhaps for 10, 15 years, and really say we establish a law which guarantees freedom if you spin out an organization.
Thank you for this fascinating discussion, Thomas.
Thank you, Sasha.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. It was a great conversation that showed how Germany is succeeding in innovation, with lots of lessons for all of us. What did you learn about innovation in Germany? Leave your thoughts in the comments or give this video a like. It would mean a lot to us. And if you've made it this far and are not yet subscribed to our channel, hit the subscribe button now and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss our new videos. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.